Welcome to Bob's Radio Cafeteria. You can find me at facebook.com/Bob's Radio Cafeteria, also youtube.com/The Clarences, and, of course, Comfortably Zoned Radio Network on iTunes, led by the one and only Ralph Tycho, and also features a good friend of mine, Fred Lazarus, with his Durfcast. And my guest this week is the one, the only, the legendary Seka. Are you there?
Whoa! Yes, I am.
Thank you so much for being on the show. But before we start, tell people where we can find you on the internet.
Well, my website is www.Seka.com. I'm on Twitter at Seka1954. And I don't know my Facebook handle. It's the cover of my book. I think it's under Dorothea Patton something. But I'm also friends with Richard Pacheco, so you can find me in his friends list.
And, of course, we cannot start this interview without giving props to our good friend, Mr. Howie Gordon. Thank you, Howie.
Thank you, Howie, better known in the business as Richard Pacheco.
Richard Pacheco.
I think on Facebook it is Howie Gordon.
It is, yeah. And I joked with him yesterday. I said, I think the only reason that you gave me interviews with like Nina Hartley and now with yourself is because he likes to hear his name on be broadcast over the interview, and he kind of.
Well, I don't know. I've never found Mr. Pacheco to be that egotistical.
No, he's a sweetheart. We love him. You mentioned the book. So first of all, why don't you tell people about the name of the book and a little bit about the book?
The name of the book is The Platinum Princess of Porn. Inside Seka, The Platinum Princess of Porn. And I wrote the book because everybody kept bugging me to write a book, and it's gotten really great reviews. There are some people that don't like it simply because it's about me. It's about my life. It's not about the porn business. I mean, there is some sex in the book when it was required to be in the book or necessary for things, in the course of events that happen in your life to be there. But, if you think you're going to get all sex, you're not. If you want to know about me and my life and what I've done in my life, then you'll like the book. Inside Seka, The Platinum Princess of Porn.
Absolutely, because that's really what it's all about. It's like if you want to know about the sex, you can go back and watch the videos and all that. But if you really want to get inside, like Howie's book, Hindsight, you get to know about the person, and the same thing with your book. Now, you right now are in Kansas City, and you have a show coming up in June. Do you want to tell the people about that show?
Yes, I'm doing my last U.S. appearance in St. Louis, Missouri. The show is called Contamination. It's the Sci-Fi Laura and Pop Culture Convention. And that's the last one I'll be doing in the U.S. because I'm moving to the country of Panama.
Now, why did you choose Panama, of all countries to choose for? Why Panama?
There are a lot of expatriates there. The cost of living is about 80% less than it is here.
Wow.
And at my age, and I'll be 62 in about 14 days.
Oh, happy prelated birthday.
Well, thank you. And they're associated with Johns Hopkins Hospital, so that's really good health care. I mean, like if I want to take a flight out of Panama, for instance, it costs me half of what it would cost somebody else.
Wow.
So, for expats in Panama, you get really, really good deals and the cost of living is so very good.
Yeah.
And I can live for 80% less there than I live in the U.S.
That's amazing. That's not even 50%. That's 80%. So basically, you're going to be living like a queen. I mean, Jesus.
certainly hope so.
You will. I have faith in that. And I think now, also, have you been there? Obviously, you've been there before. Is it just that you also?
No,
I mean,
no, I've not been there before. I'm going in July on this international relocation tour that I've been working through.
What is that?
Well, we looked at a lot of different places, everything from Spain, Singapore, Costa Rica, Honduras, Ecuador, and places like that, and we found this to be the best, and so we hooked up with this company, my husband and I.
Yes.
And we just found them to be very honorable and very helpful.
Aww.
And so we go into Panama City, and then we go from there, and you keep going out until you get into the mountains, so you can decide, what kind of lifestyle you want to live.
Wow. This really totally gets into it. Like, they really want to make sure that where you live is where you really want to live.
Right. And we lived in downtown Chicago for 25 years. And I really like city living.
Yeah.
And so does my husband. Once he moved in with me before we were married, he said, wow, I never thought I would like this. He goes, but this is really cool.
That's awesome.
Where
was he originally from Chicago, or where was he originally from?
St. Louis, Missouri.
Oh, okay. Okay, continue. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's okay. So, I'm going to take the tour. I would prefer right now to be in downtown Panama City. Housing is a little more expensive, but Christ, I can get a one-bedroom apartment with a terrace with an ocean view and a pool and workout center and convenience to grocery stores and everything within walking distance for like $1,000 a month.
Oh my God! Wow.
And if
I live in the San Francisco Bay Area. Something like that would cost like $4,000 a month. Wow, you are
exactly.
Right. 80% cheaper.
Exactly. So, we may want to move, a little further out. I'll see once I go.
Yeah.
So I'll send in pictures and posting pictures on Facebook about different places. But, there are places I can get a 3-bedroom home for lease, and all these come completely furnished.
Oh, wow. So you really can. When you move there, you can leave a lot behind. You don't have to bring all your furniture.
I'm leaving everything behind. I'm selling the dirt off my floors.
Ladies and gentlemen, right now, Seka is selling her dirt from her. There'll be people out there that would probably be interested in buying it, too. That's the creepy thing about that.
Well, I don't know if it's creepy or not, but, whatever.
Whatever. Hey, to each his own. That's true. Good point. I wanted to ask you, first of all, how long have you been married for?
Well, we have been together for 14 years.
God bless you. Wow.
And on August the 23rd, we will have been married 10 years.
10. Wow. Well, what is the key? Because I'm always curious when people are married over a certain amount of time, especially when you get into the double digits. What is the first question I always ask is, what is the secret? What keeps you guys together for so long? Because Howie's been married for 40, or they've been together like 40 plus years. So that's really a testament to. But how have you guys kept? What's your secret for people out there?
Yes, you're in love, and then you fall in love, and then you have the honeymoon period, and then you go to the everyday doldrums of life. But first and foremost, you have to be friends. I think being friends is the key to a really good relationship, because if you're not friends with the person, you're not really in love with the person. You're just in lust with the person.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's very well said. So were you guys friends first, and then you got married, and then you started dating, or did you start dating and then and become friends through that?
Well, it's actually pretty funny. When I lived in Chicago, I worked for WLUP. I had my own radio show on the Loop. It was called Let's Talk About Sex.
Yes.
And the company my husband was working for did a lot of advertising with the Loop. And I had met him like 3 or 4 times at different events that the Loop threw. Mm-hmm. And but I never remembered him. But I was at a swimming pool in Hollywood, Florida at the Diplomat Hotel, and he was there for a different conference, and I was with an ex, and he was about to get married, and I was about to get rid of the ex, and we met by the swimming pool at the Diplomat Hotel, and so I told him I was about ready to start my website up, and he said, "Oh, well, that's cool." And one day I got a message from him through my contact email on www.seka.com site, and he said, his name is Carl. He said, "This is Carl. We met at the pool, blah, blah, blah." And he said, "Here's my number. Give me a call sometime." So I called him. And I was like, "You old dog, you. How are you?" Because I wanted some of that. Because he's gorgeous.
Aww.
He's still gorgeous. I mean, he's a lovely, dark-haired, dark-skinned Sicilian boy with green eyes.
Aww.
So I said, "I want me some of that." And I knew I wasn't going to be with this other guy, and I knew that he was getting a divorce. So I had to beg him to take me out. He didn't want to take me out.
What?
No, he didn't. He was
sure he wasn't playing hard to get?
No, he wasn't.
Okay.
He wasn't playing hard to get. He had just gotten out of divorce, and he didn't want to have a girlfriend. He didn't, Yeah.
He wanted to take it slow. He probably wasn't prepared, right? He was like, "Look, I just got to have a divorce. I don't want to jump right into a relationship again."
Yeah, well, we had one date, and finally I begged him to take me out.
Wow.
And because he said, "Well, I'm going out of town." And I said, "Well, when are you going out of town?" And he said, "In 10 days. I said, "That's just stupid. You could take me out for lunch or dinner." And he thought it was going to cost him a fortune, and we split everything. I paid my part. He paid his part. I didn't want him for his money because, number one, he's not a rich person.
You wanted him for him. You had a crush on him, and you wanted to get to know him more.
No, I wanted to screw him is what I wanted.
Here I am trying to be very kosher, like, well, you just want to be romantic. No, Bob, I want to screw.
I wanted a piece of that action. I
love it.
I would love him so much. But we had one date, and we haven't been apart since.
Oh, wow. That's romance. That's a romance, folks.
He said, "Well, it was good enough the first time. I got to go back and make sure, see if I was right. You got to try it twice just to make sure." So.
Oh, wow. I feel like I should be playing violins in the background or something. I don't know.
But we've been together ever since.
God bless you. God bless you. And he must be really excited about the move to Panama as well.
Well, yes, he is, but he's like, "Well, what am I going to do all day long?" I said, "It's a whole new world. We're,
yeah,
all kinds of things we can do."
You guys are going to, and plus that you haven't been there, you guys are going to explore together, and it's like it's starting fresh, It's and that's the most exciting thing, and it's a new country too. I mean,
absolutely.
Becky, well, I'm very happy for you. I'm really happy for you.
Well, thank you. And then, no matter where you live or who you are, there's always somebody in your life that has drama.
Absolutely.
And so we're leaving the drama behind as well.
Interesting. So you guys just got to a point in your life. You just said, look, obviously the weather. You said the weather, and now it's the drama too. It's like you guys are just done. You just want to start fresh.
Well, that, and we want to be someplace where it's warm. I mean, I just had surgery on my left knee about 3 weeks ago, and most was is because of arthritis.
How is your knee right now? Is it okay? Is it healing well?
It's fine. I can still tell you when it's going to rain, but other than that, the doctor said that's the best thing you can do. Being in a warm climate, so it's a steady temperature, is going to serve you both well. So
good. So it's a win-win-win situation.
Yes, and if we decide we don't like it there are other, Central and South American countries we could move to, or if we wanted to, we could come back here because we're just going to rent our house here.
Oh, smart.
Yeah. Well, you still get the tax write-off.
I was going to ask you, what was the deciding factor of going from Chicago to Kansas City? If you don't want to answer, that's also okay too.
No, it's the cost of living.
Of course, Chicago, of course, yes, of course. Chicago is going to be more expensive than Kansas City, of course.
Well, at the time, and we both had a past there, and my ex's ex was always bugging me because I used to bartend off and on, and she would always come in and cause a hassle when I was bartending, and he had a couple of ex-wives and ex-girlfriends there, and we just said, we're done with this crap.
I don't blame you.
And now we have a huge house, and it's hard for both of us to go up and down the stairs. And so we don't. And plus, we use 3 rooms in this house. We use the kitchen, the living room, and the bedroom. We don't even use dining.
You don't
room.
even need the rest of the house. You don't need it.
No, and then we've got a whole downstairs, so we don't need all this crap. And it's like we were talking. I have all this beautiful Lalique crystal and baccarat crystal and bone china and all these collectible pieces of art and stuff. Been there, done that. I don't need all that crap.
Interesting. So you really are at that point of your life where it's like, I want to simplify. I want to get rid of the drama. I want to be in the warm weather. Plus, you just had knee surgery, so you definitely don't want to be in the cold weather. And it's just everything's just working towards like, okay, Panama City, let's go, let's do it. And your husband's down, so let's do it.
Yeah, I might be there 6 months before him because he'll probably continue to work for a little while. But
makes the transition.
That's okay with me too. I'm pretty much used to living by myself because he travels so much.
Ah.
And when he's home for like 3 weeks, I look at him and go, "Don't you have a trip to take?"
Oh, wait a minute. Now we're starting to find out the real truth of a healthy marriage is you don't see each other that much.
Well, being with someone 24/7, I don't think is all that healthy because you don't have anything to talk about.
After a while, yeah, it's kind of like da-da-da-da-da-da-da, hear the crickets.
Then you watch the same TV shows, you go to the same restaurants, you get up at the same time, you go to bed at the same time. It's dull.
So you're gonna have you'll have 6 months. But so when he finally makes the move in 6 months, you're gonna be like, you're gonna really be missing him, and it's gonna be like almost like a honeymoon all over again.
Well, that's what I'm hoping for.
I think you will. I'm gonna give you a Joe Namath guarantee that I think it's gonna happen. If not, then call Howie and say, hey, your friend Bob was wrong. Tell him to go F himself.
I'll just have to tell Howie to come visit.
Yep. I wanted to ask you, I was looking, in your book, you had Jim Norton right in the beginning of the book. How did that come about? And that's really cool.
Well, Jim Norton and I are friends.
Oh, that's so cool.
We've been friends for, 20 years.
Wow.
And then Bobby Slayton wrote the afterwards, and Jim Norton wrote the foreword. And Bobby Slayton and I have been friends for, 30-some years.
Wow.
So, and then Penn Jillette gave me a nice quote because I've known him for quite a while from being on the Loop, and Tony Fitzpatrick, who he's very good friends with, who's he was on the radio as well, but he's a really great artist, and so I got some good quotes from some pretty darn good people.
Yeah, that's an understatement. Now you started that radio show in '97. Let's talk about sex. What was that like for you? I mean, how much did you enjoy it? How long was it on for?
I loved it. I thought it was great. It was on for 3 years, but basically, they needed a chick on the air, and I was the token chick because Kevin Matthews would have me on his show all the time.
He was one of the DJs at the Loop.
Yeah, and so Kevin deemed me the den mother of his show. And I would do golf outings with them and help raise money for this Catholic orphanage and stuff like that. And one day when we were on the air, he said, you should have your own show. I said, well, you can make that happen. And he did.
Wow, I love it. Don't talk about it, just do it.
Yeah, and we were on from Saturday nights from 10 to 2 in the morning. And we had more listeners than the 4 main drive time 5-day-a-week DJs collectively.
Wow. And we're talking Chicago. We're not talking like a little town. We're talking Chicago. So that's a pretty amazing feat to have better ratings for your one show for once a week on a Saturday night. You did better ratings than the drive by. You can call it drive by. Yeah, the drive bys.
Danny Bonaducci was on. Kevin Matthews was on. I can't think of the name of the other guy that just did his show not that long ago. I'm old. Elvin Blank.
Yeah, I just have more to remember. My father's in his mid-80s, and he was just, I forget everything. I said, no, you don't forget everything. You just have more memories. You have more to sort through. That's what it is. What was Danny a cool guy to work with to have on the show?
I didn't have him on the show. He had his own show.
Oh, he had his own show. Gotcha.
So, yeah, and he was cordial enough to me. I liked him, and to me, he was a pretty good guy. At the time, his wife was not so nice to me because of my chosen profession.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, well, she got nasty with me one day, and I said, "Well, at least I didn't get caught cheating on my husband or spouse with a drag queen."
Boom! Drops the mic. Boom! What do you got to say after that?
Yeah, I mean, come on, don't be a bitch.
Exactly. And you sound like Howie speaks very highly of you. My little interactions with you right now, you seem like a really sweet person. Yeah, and it's just to be a jerk is just not cool. It's kind of like what you were saying earlier about the drama. Like, let's just leave the drama behind. Some people just like being jerks. I don't understand that.
If you don't like me, fine. Don't like me. I really don't.
Don't talk to you then. Don't talk to you. You know, there you go.
You don't need to be a bitch about it.
Exactly. Idiots. Well, that's in the past, so you don't have to ever see her again. So that's, thank God.
Well, it was funny. I was at a trade show in New Jersey many years ago.
Yeah.
And they had, all of the adult. It was an all-adult show, but they had all of the legends in one place.
Right.
This little troll of a man walks up. It looks like he hadn't shaven in 4 or 5 days. It stains on his T-shirt. His clothes were all frumpy. His hair was all over his head. And he's looking at the pictures on the table, and he looks at me, and he goes, "You're fat."
No, he did not.
He did, too. And my friend that was there helping me, he helps me at a lot of shows on the East Coast, started to say something to him, and I said, "No, I can handle this. Don't worry about it." I said, "Yes, that's true. But I can do something about that. You're stuck with stupid."
Great comeback. What a rude son of a bitch, and what a great comeback.
Yeah, and, I did it in such a tone that it sounded like, I had sugar dripping off of my elbows, Yeah,
whatever.
I could do something about that, but, darling, you're stuck with stupid.
That's funny because some people when they talk, I highly believe in karma, and sometimes people say like, "Oh, I wish I could see the karma happen," and it's like you can't. Usually, you don't see the karma happen. But I said one thing you can know is that one of the karmas they have is that they have to wake up with themselves every single day. That's bad karma enough for them. So for that idiot to say that, which is absolutely rude. I mean, you just wouldn't say that to anybody. And gross.
At the time, I was probably 56, 57 years old. You get older, put on weight. I'm far from being fat. And plus, I don't do drugs anymore. I don't live on cocaine and Evian water. I quit doing crap a long time ago.
Meaning, basically what you're saying is healthy. That's what you are. You're healthy.
Yeah, I mean, it's so funny. And I started laughing after he walked away because it kind of dipped his head down and he walked away. And I looked back at my friend Michael, and I said, he's got to wake up and see that every day. I don't have to look up and see that every day.
Exactly. Well, kind of like what I said. Like, he has to wake up and look at himself every. You know what I mean? Now, you were on. No, I don't want to forget this. Actually, I had a question about the radio show. I don't want to go ahead before I forget. What was on the 3 years you did that radio show? Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you, Amy.
That was my theme song.
Oh, you played the Salt and Pepper song. Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about. Perfect. What was it's such a cheesy way of saying it, but what was the one call that even you were like, wow, this is a question? Like, was there one that what one stood out the most?
Oh my goodness. Practically all of them.
All of them. Oh, I also want to ask you, I'm throwing two questions at you at once, but before I forget, the other one was, how much training did you have to do before that? Like, was there like a month training, like they had you come in and like learn the boards and all that, or?
No, I had a co-host, Stan Lawrence, who worked the boards, and we had 2 interns that, pulled all the stuff, took the calls, and all that kind of thing. So all I had to do was sit there and talk.
Kind of like Frasier, on his show, like on the.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Sweet.
And I have a good voice for radio, which they liked.
You have a great voice.
Well, thank you. And we had everything from Johnson and Johnson to I had sports figures from the Chicago Bears, the Chicago Cubs, the Blackhawks. I had Rawls on the show.
You'll never find a love.
I love that man's voice.
That man's voice, folks, if you have never heard Lou Rawls sing, go YouTube Lou Rawls and listen to that man's voice. You want to talk about a great, deep, sexy voice, right, Seka? Oh my God. You'll never find another love like mine.
Yeah, he was a fine drop of chocolate.
Oh, who else did you have on the show?
Let's see. Well, we had pajama parties on the show.
Aw.
We had New Year's Eve parties on the show. We had restaurants on the show. Anything that you could relate to sex, from musicians to food, music, sports.
And so you had musicians on the show, and you said you had the sports, the Bears, the Blackhawks, the Cubs, White Sox, the Bulls.
No, I have White Sox on. I'm a Cubs fan.
Oh, you are oh, I'm sorry. Jeez. When are they going to win a World Series again? I mean, geez, the Red Sox got theirs, the White Sox got theirs. When is the Cubbies going to get one?
I don't know. The last time they won a World Series was 1908.
I know, and that's what I'm saying. Like, Jesus, that is unbelievably long. I mean, just think about that. That's way over 100 years.
Yeah, we know.
You're like, yeah, Bob, thanks for reminding me, idiot. I know.
Well, they say they've got a good team this year, but here in Kansas City, we won the World Series last year.
Yep. And the year before that, they lost to the San Francisco Giants the year before that. But I'm glad the Royals won this year. Who's your all-time favorite Cubs player? Do you have one?
Lee Smith.
Oh, really? Great pick. Wow. Why? He was a great player.
Because he was a great pitcher.
Yeah, I remember him. He was a really good pitcher. And I think he went on to the Red Sox. I think he played with the Red Sox. I think he was on the I remember him on the Red Sox. Yeah, and of course the Cubs. Yeah. Oh, cool. Did you ever meet him?
Yes, I did, as a matter of fact, because I was dating the pitching coach from the Cubs at the time, Billy Connors.
Oh, wow.
And I would wait for him after the game, and he always wanted to put me in the wives and girlfriends section. I said, no, I want to sit behind home plate because my dad was a pitcher.
Oh, wow.
So I was waiting for him, outside the locker room one day, and I turned around to do something, and I ran smack into Lee Smith's chest, and I just looked up and up and up and up. But he was a big boy. He was very tall, and it was like hitting a brick wall. He was just as hard as a brick wall.
Were you like, hi, wow, it's Lee Smith, my favorite all-time Cub.
Yeah, he just kind of looked at her and smiled. I said, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to run into you like that. He goes, it's okay. He goes, I'm for Billy's girl. And I said, yeah. I said, but you're my favorite Cubs guy.
Aww.
Thank you. So that was pretty cool.
So, did you ever get to go up? Did you ever get to see Harry Carey?
Oh, I used to hang out with Harry.
Oh my God! Do you have any a great Harry Carey story?
Other than the fact that Harry drank an awful lot and would get ridiculously drunk, but he was always funny.
Oh, wow. That is so cool. I mean, talk about a legend, right?
Yeah, really. And he was such a nice man, and his wife was such a lovely person.
Aw, he's a legend. He was kind of like Johnny Most with the Boston Celtics, just a distinct voice. You know, Johnny Most had that voice. Larry Bird's got the ball. Johnny Most, Terry Carey, what a distinct voice. That was the Cubs.
Well, that was because he was hammered most of the time.
Was he like he's like Howard Cosell? He was drunk half the time. He
was a great guy.
Now, of course, you're a legend, absolute legend in the adult film industry, and we all know you are a household name. And again, it's an honor to have you on the show, and thank you to Howie. Who is some people that you met that you were starstruck? I mean, besides Lee Smith, obviously Lee Smith, but who are some of the other people? Because I'm a huge music fan. Was there any musicians that you met that you were like, wow, this is pretty damn cool?
Well, Aerosmith and the Rolling Stones.
Wow! How did you meet so how about Aerosmith and Rolling Stones? How did you meet them?
They actually wanted to meet me, and I was in Sugar Blue. It was a wonderful blues harmonicist.
Yeah.
And I was backstage at a Chicago show that was way out in the suburbs. I can't remember the name of the place, but it was an outdoor amphitheater. And Ronnie Wood's wife at the time came over and said, I've never seen Ron speechless before. Would you go over and talk to him? I just want to see his reaction.
Oh, my God.
He didn't know what to say. So his wife was like, thanks. At least I got to see it one time.
Oh, my God. That is so... I mean, and the thing is, not only did you get to meet them, they wanted to meet you. How cool is that?
Yeah, I've got me with pictures of Ronnie and me with Steven Tyler from Aerosmith.
How was he? Cool guy? Was he a cool guy?
Just a sweetheart.
Seems like it. He seems like a really sweet guy. Legend. Now, I remember as a teenager, when I was a teenager in the 80s, and I would look at, like, music magazines, I remember you were always with pictures with, like, the heavy metal guy. Like, I remember seeing a picture of you with, like, Motley Crue and Bon Jovi. Were those more like they wanted to meet you, like Motley Crue and Bon Jovi, or...
Well, that's what's really funny is, and they're very nice guys.
Cool.
What was a friend of mine in Chicago, Randy McGee. She owned a hair salon in the building that I lived in. Well, her brother managed Bon Jovi, Motley Crue, Sandel.
Doc McGee.
Yeah, Doc. And they were all in town at the same time, and Randy always did their hair when they were in town. And she called me, and she goes, I have a big favor to ask. And I said, whatever, what you need. And she goes, well, I've got Motley Crue and Bon Jovi here, and it's causing a big ruckus in the salon. Can they come up and hang out at your house? I went, yeah.
Oh, so you say that in the book, that Bon Jovi had a hideout. They had a hideout in your apartment.
Yeah, and she would call up, the next one would come down, and the other one would come up, and she could get them all.
Oh, my God, that's so funny. Oh, so did you ever meet Doc McGee?
Oh, I know Doc really well. I can call Doc right now.
Oh, that's so cool. Wow.
Doc's a really nice guy. I've been down to Florida to his parents' home, and yeah, he's a sweet guy.
So there you are in your apartment, and you're like, there's two of the hottest bands in the world, Bon Jovi, and of course, these are all good-looking men, very good-looking guys, and you're like going like, okay, I'm in heaven right now. Like, I've got John Bon Jovi here, and you said they were all really super cool.
Yes, they are, and I never slept with any of them.
Never thought you did. I thought that's what I love is like, that's a good side subject to say, and it's kind of like I've talked to Howie about this, and even with Nina, and I'm going to say it to you. It's one thing I always look at porn as like wrestlers. It's two industries that make a lot of money but have no respect, but yet everybody watches it, and that's one thing that always irritates me. It's like, oh, just because that's their business, that means they're sluts or they're out there doing this person and that person. It's like, no, they're just people making money, and this is a job. Yeah, maybe there are some there are. It's kind of like the police. What, because of a 3% that are really rotten, does that mean the other 90% are horrible? No. Well, it's the same thing with the adult industry and the wrestling industry. It's like like when people say wrestling's fake. No, it's not fake. It's predetermined, but it's not fake. The things they do in that ring are real, and when they, sometimes when they get injured, it's real. Same thing with you guys. It's like, oh, Seka, you were in the room with Bon Jovi and Motley Crue. That must have meant she had sex with all of them. No, she just hung out with them. Her friend asked if they could hang out in her apartment.
Yeah.
And now I'm gonna step off my soapbox now.
I know a lot of wrestlers too, like Mikhail, what's his name? Mikhail, the Iron Sheik.
Oh, cool.
That time of wrestling. I know a lot of guys, and we're good friends. We communicate.
I actually had a question for you from Fred, who's actually on Comfortably Zone radio network. His show is called Durfcast, and he interviews mostly all old wrestlers. And he said, "Oh, could you ask Seka a question for me?" I said, "Sure." And he said, "Ask her if has she met or does she know any wrestlers?" So you just kind of answered it right there. Iron Sheik. Any other ones?
The Iron Sheik. Hey, Carl, what was the guy's name that fell on his face all the time? Valentine?
Greg Valentine.
Greg Valentine.
Hi, Carl.
Yeah, he's in the kitchen. He just walked in.
Hi. Did you ever meet Roddy Piper?
No, I didn't. Unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately, because he just passed. Yeah.
Yeah, but that whole group, the Russian guy and
Nikolai Volkov. Yep.
Volkov, yeah. Nikolai and I still communicate.
Oh. And you probably see a lot of these guys, too, when you do those pop culture events where they're like, the signings. You probably see a lot of them there, too, correct?
Oh, absolutely. And that's how we became friends.
That's so cool.
And we stay in touch with one another. It's really very cool.
What was it like being on Saturday Night Live? What was that like?
Oh, with Sam Kinison?
It was Sam. Yeah. What was that like? What was it like being on the set of Saturday Night Live?
It was amazing. It was absolutely amazing.
What year was that? When you were on it, what year was it? Because I'm trying to figure out what cast it was.
Well, it was Dana Carvey.
Oh wow!
It was that time period. I think that was in the 80s, late 80s.
Late 80s, late, because Sam died, 91, 92, so it's probably somewhere like late 80s, early, wow. So you saw Phil Hartman, Dana Carvey, Dennis Miller, all those, Jan Hooks, all those people.
Yeah, well, Dana Carvey used to live in the building that I lived in Chicago.
Oh, so you knew him?
I knew that he lived in the building. I didn't see him.
Oh, gotcha. That is so cool. Wow.
I said his only claim to fame was that he lived in the same building I lived in.
Yeah, that's it. And where is he today? That's right, because he stopped saying that. See? He should start saying that. My claim to fame is I lived in the same building as Seca. So, you are now. When you go to Panama, are you still going to do those? Will you still fly up and do some events like those signings and stuff? Those pop culture signings.
If they want to fly me in and pay me to be there, pay my room, yeah.
Absolutely. And well, we're saying last because there is none planned after, but your next one is next month in St. Louis. Where is it exactly at? So people can know.
It's in June in St. Louis, the 17th, 18th, and 19th. It's on my Facebook page as well under my calendar page. It's also on Seka.com on my calendar page, and it gives you all of the locations and the times and things that are going on. I'm going to be doing a reading.
Oh, cool.
Book and Q&A and stuff like that. So there are lots of really cool people that are going to be there.
Like who else is going to be there? Do you know?
I know there are a couple of wrestlers.
Oh, cool.
And I can't remember offhand. Like I said, I can remember 25 years ago. I can't remember this morning.
I don't know what kind of memory that is. Well, like I said, like I would say to my father, it's just you have more to remember. It's so cool. And so
there's in the bank.
What?
There's too much stuff in the memory bank.
That's it. There's nothing wrong with that. You've lived quite the life. You've had you're a household name. Oh yeah, that's the other thing I wanted to ask you too was how there's a thing coming up. Was it on Showtime or HBO or correct me if I'm wrong, where they're doing the top 100 or top 50 adult stars of all time, and Howie's going to be in that. And obviously Nina will be in it, and obviously you're going to be in it. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I went to San Francisco, or Oakland actually, to do that show. So that's the last time I got to see Howie. I think it's rather cool. And
really cool.
Coming out through Playboy that they're doing a special on someone, and I forget exactly who it is. But they wanted some pictures. They're doing it on Aunt Peg.
Oh.
And because I worked with her quite a bit, they wanted some pictures of me to use for their special. And, of course, my first question is always, what are you going to pay me?
Well, I don't blame you.
So, yeah. So I'll be doing that as well. I'm not sure when that's coming out.
You'll be in the top 10. You will be in the top. You'll probably be the number one. You'll be in the top 10 easy. Easy.
Well, they haven't done right now. She is the only one I know that they've started with, and they're doing it with John Waters.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so it should be quite interesting.
I'm proud of you, and I'm really happy, and I'm glad that Nina, and I'm also glad that Howie's Richard Pacheco for people that don't know him outside. But I'm glad that all you guys get recognized because you guys are part of pop culture, and you were part of it.
We are now.
Well, you guys, the thing is, the one thing that I respect about the golden era is that to me it was more beautiful. There was acting involved. There was all this stuff, but not just all that. Is that what you guys had to go through? I mean, you guys, you really, when people talk about, they paved the way. Well, you guys really did pave the way because you were always under threat of being arrested, of being shut down. I mean, the porn people now don't have to worry about that stuff. I mean, it's a billion. You guys had it. I mean, have you ever been arrested due to going through that stuff?
No, I was arrested once in San Diego doing a strip routine.
Oh, Lord.
At the theater, and I wasn't even totally naked when they arrested me on stage.
Jesus. That's what I'm talking about. You wouldn't even think of that nowadays. You wouldn't even think of that.
Well, no. Plus, I mean, a lot of people these days don't know how much that we did fight for First Amendment. I testified in front of Edwin Meese in the Senate subcommittee in D.C.
Right on. Right on.
And I did a lot of TV shows, everything from Larry King to Oprah to help explain what First Amendment was to people that didn't really realize exactly what it meant.
Yeah, there's a video on YouTube of you on the Alan Thicke show, the old Alan Thicke show, and then you did Phil Donahue too, and
Phil Donahue, Oprah, Larry King. There are a bunch of them that I did. And
what were they like? Were they cool? Were they cool to you, like off camera, like Oprah and Larry King, Phil Donahue, all those guys?
Yeah, they were. I mean, there was not a lot of interaction with Oprah, but that's when she first got started, and it was a half-hour show at the time.
Oh, gotcha. And she was out. Her and Phil were out of Chicago. Am I correct?
Yes.
Oh, so that was easy for you. It was just like boop, 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 right over.
Right there. And Larry King was absolutely the coolest.
Oh, that's good to know, because you always think of, people seem to always talk like, oh, he seems like such a, no, he was actually really, really, well, he probably was like, wow, here's Seka,
Well, the really neat thing about him was that he asked very interesting questions instead of the same old normal stupid questions.
Exactly.
My husband's heard me do so many interviews that he could do the interview for me because people don't ask interesting questions.
I watched an interview and I don't, excuse me, that's the thing I do with my interviews. Is like I try to stray away from those typical questions. I mean, sometimes I got to ask. It's kind of like going to New York City. Excuse me. It's like going to New York City. It's like, if you've never been to New York City, yeah, it's really touristy to see the Empire State Building, but damn, all right, I got to go see it. But other than that, you want to see other stuff, and I try to stay away from that stuff because I also think sometimes when it comes to like the adult, I watched an interview of yours, and I thought it was really insulting. I almost felt like you were starting to get upset. I thought they were talking down to you, and I thought it was really insulting to you.
What's his name? The loudmouth?
Yes, I thought it was because all they concentrated on was, "Oh, are you a slut?" Da, 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 da. It's like, this is a woman here. This is a performer. This is a human being. And just because
that was, again, the name eludes me.
Yeah,
but
me too.
What call? Morton Downing.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I flipped him the bird and said, "Go fuck yourself," and walked off the show.
I love that. That's legendary.
And then Gloria Leonard got up and walked off the show.
Yep.
And the only person that was left was Candida Royale. And I talked to her one day before she passed away. God bless her heart.
Oh.
She said, "I hope you're not mad at me because I didn't leave." I said, "Of course not. You were there for a reason. You were there to push your film. I admire you for being able to put up with his crap."
Yeah, a lot of those guys just did that too, just to get recognized. But he was just a jerk. But I've seen that. I've seen that interviews with a lot of you guys. It's like they talk down to you guys, and it's like, a lot of these people, this is just their job. It doesn't mean that you can talk to them a certain way. Like that asshole at the meet and greet, the slobby guy is like, "Oh, you've gotten heavy." Da, da, da. Same attitudes. Like, "Oh, would you talk to someone else on the street like that?" No, you wouldn't. Don't be a jerk.
Oh, he probably would have.
He probably would. And right now he's probably, yeah, exactly. He's just a miserable bastard.
Yeah.
Well, I'm really.
Larry King was really cool, and I did the Mort Downey Jr. show a second time because it was all about PETA and furs and so on and so forth. And he said he did apologize for being such a jerk to me.
Oh, cool.
And he wanted to know if I owned furs, and I said, "Yeah, I have 3 furs." And he said, "Would you come on my show?" And he told me what it was about and so on and so forth. Said, as long as you don't talk to me that way, and if something happens to one of my fur coats, you'll replace it.
Good for you.
And he said, that's a deal. So for my fur coat, I had a couple of friends come with me that wore my other 2 fur coats. Hell, you live in Chicago. It's cold.
Exactly. Really cold.
Well, it's really quite funny. I was going up in the elevator at the Hancock building where the Loop was at the time. And there were 2 guys on the elevator, and I had on my huge floor-length Labrador Blush Fox. Gorgeous coat, heavy as hell, and nothing got through that coat. And they're standing there, and they're looking at me in the elevator, and they were, making, like, nasty kind of noises, like, stuff like that. They went, how could you wear that fur coat? Do you know how many animals had to die for that coat? And I just politely turned around and I looked at the man and I said, well, you're wearing leather shoes and a leather belt.
Yeah.
Said, how many men do you think I had to fuck to get this coat?
Oh my God, their jaws must have just dropped.
Oh, they were stuttering.
Classic.
So
don't mess with Seca. I repeat, do not mess with Seca. I will say it one more time for the hearing impaired. Do not mess with Seca. I think I've made that point abundantly clear.
People, if somebody's going to treat me poorly, I'm not going to treat them poorly, but I will certainly give them a comment to remember.
Absolutely, and that's a great comment. I mean, it's just like it put them right in their spot. Like, yeah, you're sitting there with leather shoes on and a leather belt, and you're judging me. And more importantly, do you even know my name? No? Okay, then why are you talking to me as if you know me? You don't know me. So don't talk to me. You haven't lived a day in my life. You don't know anything about me.
Well,
people just want to feel better.
Do you live in Chicago where it's so brutally cold you can get frostbite on your nose if you don't have your entire face covered?
Yeah. Richard Pryor had a really funny skit, as only he could make it funny. He talked about the cold wind in Chicago, and only Richard Pryor could make that funny. And he talked about, like, it's waiting around the corner for you, and you'd think you'd be all clear. All of a sudden, it's like, there he is. Wow. I'm not giving it justice, but he made it sound it's so funny. But it's it's the Windy City, for Christ's sakes.
Well, yeah, it is, but you know how it got its name of being the Windy City, don't you?
No. How did it get a name?
Because of all the hot air the politicians blow.
Is that true?
That's what I always heard in Chicago when I lived there.
That's awesome. You learn something new every day. Wow. For the rest of my life, I'm going to say, if anyone ever mentions that, it's like, you know how I got the name? Well, how do you know? Well, Seka told me. Oh, okay. Oh, geez, I better not. And if you want, I'll have her come down here with her fox coat and tell you it's true. You don't want that to happen. No, I'm fine. Don't worry about it. I'm fine.
Yeah,
I've hired you.
Okay.
That's it.
Well, I think I have to go help my husband unpack groceries because
sounds about right time. First of all, I just want to say thank you so much for being on Bob's Radio Cafeteria. You are a legend. You are a jewel. I've had absolute blast talking to you. I wish you the best. Good luck in Panama. And before we go, tell people where they can find you next month and then where they can find you on the web.
They can find me at www.seka.com, on Twitter at Seka1954, because that was the year I was born.
Yeah.
And on Facebook, it's the cover of my book. I don't know the handle for it. But, and the show that I'm going to be doing in June the 17th, 18th, and 19th is called Contamination in St. Louis. It's going to be a really, really, really good show. It's always fun. They have great guests from, like horror movies and cartoon artists and wrestlers and all kinds of really cool things and events going on during that week, or that weekend, rather. So if you go to www.seka.com, click on the contact button, the email comes directly to me. So, and nobody else answers my emails but me.
Awesome.
So hit me up at www.seka.com or Seka 1954 on Twitter, and find me on Facebook.
Thank you so much, Seka. I will send you the links to this when I get it all done. Thank you so much. And again, you're listening to Bob's Radio Cafeteria. You can find me Facebook.com/Bob's Radio Cafeteria, YouTube.com/The Clarences, and of course on iTunes on Ralph Tycho's Comfortably Zoned Radio Network, where he has his shows, and my good friend Fred Lazarus has his Derfcast. Thank you again. Thanks to Seka. I'll see you on the next episode of Bob's Radio Cafeteria. Bye.
Bye.